Hi guys, my name is Stephanie and welcome to Schoolhouse Rap. Today I wanted to share with you some things I learned about myself in 2020. Had lots of time to reflect and kind of discover some things that I loved and kind of discover some things that I don't love and I don't want to continue to do, but I thought I'd just share those with you today. Stay tuned. The number one thing I discovered was that I really do love gardening. Like I would always say I like to garden, and like when I first moved into my house, I like redid the entire left side of the house. I dug up all the grass and then I put in flowers. But I never put in like vegetables or things like that. So it really was like, and a lot of perennials. I'm not big on annuals. I'm like, if you're gonna do all that work, you might as well do a one and done for the most part. But 2020, I think I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of gardening, and it was like, oh my gosh, I think I love this and I think I could do it. So I did just a little bit this year, or this past year, because as of right now, it is 2021, January the 1st as I'm recording. But I grew like lettuce, I did kale, and so this was like towards the end because that's a cooler crop. And I also did sweet potatoes, and that kind of started as a little experiment. I was showing my granddaughter how you can get this very beautiful plant from a sweet potato, because I also would put the sweet potato vine like around my mailbox, and actually that was an annual plant, but I loved it. Was that an annual or perennial? Now that I think about it, because I think it did come back, and I gotta look that up and check, but I think it did come back for a couple of years. But anyway, so we grew the sweet potato, you know the whole trick. You cut the sweet potato off, you put it in water, put the toothpicks, all of that. So we did that, and so it's very luscious looking vines, but then I said, let's go ahead and put it in the dirt and let's see what happens. Well, lo and behold, that one sweet potato, which I ended up having, I think, 3 slips. Well, I got like 5 sweet potatoes from that. So I was just outdone and excited from my little skinny sweet potatoes. I said, oh, I'm going to do this again next year. So I really do have a desire for this year. I'm going to go ahead and I set up some raised flower beds in the back, but I have more sun like on the south side of the house. So I have one bed over there that I put up like 10 years ago when I first moved in, and I did grow tomatoes, but then I kind of stopped after I think maybe for 2 years, and then I left that alone because it is some work. But I decided for this year I'm going to really tackle a garden, in a small garden. I saw a garden plan for a salsa garden, so I'm going to try that this year, and I'm also going to give those sweet potatoes another try. I'm excited about that. So yeah, that kind of, and I don't think I was the only one. I think there was a surge in sales with garden seeds and supplies and equipment, so it wasn't just me. I think when we were at home, we just had tons of time on our hands, and that was one hobby that a lot of people picked up, whether it was because, you know, the scares of the food shortages, you know, going to the grocery store and you couldn't find certain things, whatever your reasoning was, but it did pick up in 2020. So I want to continue that for 2021, that I want to start growing more things that I can actually eat and replace going to the grocery store, buying things that have no flavor, especially tomatoes, and then they're so pricey. So that's something I learned about myself. It's probably the top thing that I learned in 2020. Another thing I learned about myself in 2020 is that I actually like to draw. Now, does that mean that I can draw? Of course not. But do I like to try? Yes, I do. So there are a lot of things that I would notice on TV, and I would try. I had a couple of sketchbooks, so I would just pull them out and kind of like, you know, sketch out a few things, and then I ended up ordering from Amazon, as so many things I ordered from Amazon in 2020. But I ordered some oil pastels and some, what's the other ones? Was it chalk pastels, I think? And so I kind of played around with that, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So I may put some pictures of what I did create. And again, I am no way is claiming that I am now an artist, but it was just something to kind of relieve stress. I know a lot of people do the coloring books, and I didn't really get into the coloring books. For me, that didn't help me. But as far as like drawing and kind of sketching things out, I enjoyed myself with that. So I'm hoping that that's something I can continue to do in 2021, especially to help relieve stress. Now, I already knew that I don't like to drive. I absolutely hate it. And the longest distance I usually drive, of course, is to work. Anything else, I will take a Lyft or an Uber just about for anything. It's ridiculous. I mean, I really hate driving. So 2020, I had to put my car in the shop. I don't even remember what for in 2020, because it was a couple of times it went in the shop. I have an older vehicle, so that's to be expected, but I don't want car notes, so I'm gonna drive until the wheels fall off. But of course I would have to take a Lyft to work. And I loved being chauffeured. I just absolutely loved it. So I am the type of person that I have people say, oh, that's not safe. I literally will put my head down. Either I'm reading something on the phone, I have the Kindle app, or if I'm listening to a podcast, they could drive me into a ditch. I would have no idea. That's probably not a good thing. But anyway, I enjoyed taking that because I just didn't have to attend to driving, to and fro from work. So I love being chauffeured. So that's something else I figured out. I don't know how I can continue that because that's not cheap as well, but I enjoyed it. A lot of people had a hard time with like staying home and not being able to shop. Well, I kind of figured out that's not me. I can definitely shop online and be quite content. I think I had the Instacart subscription thanks to a friend who had told me about it maybe the year before. So I'd already had that because that's something else I don't like to do. I don't like going to the grocery store. So having that taken off my plate, I could just go in, put things in the cart, and they're here. That was just perfect. And to me, I think I saved money because when I go to the grocery store, I kind of tend to go up and down every single aisle. Even if I make a list, it's like, okay, I don't want to catch something or not catch a sale. So with Instacart, it's like, okay, this is what I need. It goes into the cart, bam, it's here. So I would like to think that I saved money. But I don't know. I guess I'd have to really sit down because the prices are a little bit higher than what they are in the store. And if you don't have a membership, they charge you there's a delivery charge and I think a service fee. So I guess you just have to play around. And depending on how much you shop, it may not, work out for you. But that was something that I enjoyed. But then also just shopping in general, I would much prefer to do online shopping than to actually go into a physical building. So I probably already knew that about myself, but it just really, since everything, we were here at home, I just kind of like brought that to the forefront. Last thing, I think this is number 5, that I learned about myself in 2020 is that investing is not as hard as it seems to be, as people make it out to be. I listened to a podcast called The Courtney Sanders Show, and I think it used to be called something else. Think Grow Rich Chick, something like that. I don't know how long it's been the Courtney L. Sanders Show. But she had 3 podcasts about investing, and it was like something just clicked. It just clicked. Each episode is about an hour, so it probably took me about a total of a full work week to listen to it going back and forth to work, and then I'd actually listen to it again so I could take notes when I was at home. But for some reason, that clicked. I had gone to I think it was the TPT conference in 2018, and they had, I can't remember the guy's name, Andrew, can't remember his last name, but he's the millionaire teacher, and he had a session about investing, and it was standing room only in that session. I remember that, but he was talking, and I have some notes, but I always say my spirit is just not ready to receive stuff yet. So I just couldn't make heads or tail out of what he was saying. And I think that was the first time I heard of index funds. So I did some more reading this year. I listened to that podcast. specifically those 3 episodes, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can do this. So I've been using the Robinhood app, and I have yet. She also talks about M1, and I downloaded that app, but I haven't set up an account yet. But I am having a just a fun time watching things grow. And I also learned about, investing in things that will pay a dividend. So it's just been, and I'm still learning. I am, don't come to me for advice, but it's something that is exciting. So I definitely will continue that for 2021. But yeah, that was something new for me in 2020. And I also want to say, I think that's something that has taken off. Maybe a lot more people who wouldn't normally invest in the stock market started in 2020 because of the pandemic and just how things were going on as far as the economy. So I've learned about myself that, I think this is pretty cool. It's exciting. I'm not one to buy lottery tickets and gamble. I know some people who kind of will tend to go that way, and that's fine if that's what you like to do. But the investing part of like getting money, I can get with this. So I'm still learning, and that's something I want to grow for this coming year. So I hope to continue with these hobbies and things that I've learned about myself, and they brought me joy this past year, 2020, and I want to carry on with those things for 2021 and see where it goes from there. So what did you learn about yourself in 2020 that you wish to carry over into 2021? I know we always talk about what we're going to get rid of and what we're not going to do, but I think in 2020, we kind of figured out some things about ourselves because of the time that we had. And I mean, something you may want to continue to do because you figured out, hey, I kind of like this. So leave it down in the comments section, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.